On this episode of Teen Talk, we are hitting all the right notes as we dive into the music and magic behind school sounds. Hey there, ACPS. My name is Will Andrione, filling in for your usual host, Suha Kim, and welcome to a special episode of Teen Talk. We're shining a spotlight on the incredible talent featured on School Sounds, yet another amazing production by AACPS-TV. School Sounds is all about showcasing the musicians and bands from Anne Arundel County Public Schools. And today I'm very excited to be joined by Kenzie Adams, the talented keyboardist and vocalist from the band Pocket 3. Do you want to introduce yourself, Kenzie?
Yeah, my name's Mackenzie Adams. I am a junior at Annapolis High School, and like you said, I'm the keyboardist and vocalist for Pocket 3. I've been with them for a little bit. And I'm also in the Apex Arts program. I'm a theater major there, but I do a lot of the music classes after school, which is fun.
That's amazing. I mean, you kind of touched on that a little bit, but do you want to tell me and us a little bit about your experience as a student at ACPS?
It's been great. I've been a student here my entire life. I went to Mills Pearl Elementary, Bates Middle, did PVA there when it was PVA. I've always lived in Annapolis, so this area is so familiar to me, and I've made so many friends, and I've had so many great opportunities through AACPS, so I'm very grateful for my time here.
I mean, that really resonates with me. I mean, I've been AACPS since kindergarten, grew up in AACPS, love it here, so that really, really resonates.
Yeah.
And as the keyboardist and vocalist for Pocket 3, you've obviously have some level of love for music. Mm-hmm. When did you first discover that love that you have for music?
I think it goes back to probably before I even started school. I think I was maybe 3 or 4 years old. I was constantly banging on pots and pans at my grandmother's house, so we knew I had some kind of rhythm. And so from there, my family put me in piano lessons for a little while, and I really held on to it, and I just never stopped. I think I picked up, after I learned piano, I picked up about 6 other instruments. I started singing, and it keeps going and going. I love it.
That's amazing. I mean, it really, really looks like you just found your spark with music. Mm-hmm. I mean, and it seems to me that family played a huge role in that. What role did your family play in helping you develop that passion and love?
Yeah, for me, my mind goes to my mom first. She is also a singer. She sang in church growing up. She sang in bands in Annapolis, which is a lot of fun. My dad played drums when he was younger, so I've constantly been around music. I'm from a family where we're not quiet very often, so it meant a lot for me to find music and hold on to it because it was something that connected my entire family for years.
That's amazing. And it's all about finding that connection, what can click the family together, and having that be music, that really is great.
Yeah.
But on top of family, I imagine that a lot of your friends really influenced that, especially with Pocket 3. So let's talk about that for a little bit. How did Pocket 3 just come together to begin with?
So I'm actually not one of the original members. It started with Darren Brown and Troy Selman, who are, they're both sophomores at Broadneck currently. And they started playing together. They played go-go, and I mean, we still play go-go now, but they play drums and congas. So they started playing, I think they did the Kunta Kinte Festival, which is a big event in Annapolis, and they just kept adding on to it. They brought in more musicians. They eventually brought in me and Davey Ward, who's also a sophomore at Broadneck, and we've just kind of been going ever since. We love it. We're kind of like a little family, so it's really great for all of us to just have something to do.
That really is amazing. And so, if anyone doesn't know, could you explain what go-go music is?
Yeah, so go-go music is a kind of a subgenre of funk. It was established in D.C. I want to say it was the 70s or 80s. My history could be a little off, but it's a very percussive version of music. It uses drums, congas, timbales, cowbells, basically every percussion instrument you could think of. And it's also very audience driven. It's call and response. It's when you're playing go-go, it's really you and the audience, and you're feeding off of the energy that you get from them. And it's a great genre. There's a lot of really big songs that have been influenced by go-go. Even some of Beyonce's tracks have been inspired by go-go or made by producers from DC that pulled from that. So yeah, I think that's a overview. You have artists like Chuck Brown, Rare Essence, Backyard Band. Those are some of the three. Those are the three bigger ones. But
Yeah.
there's so many different bands, and it's such a fun type of music to play, especially because it's specific to the DMV.
I mean, I'm actually really glad that you brought up some bands and artists that are really big. Could you tell me about some of the bands and musicians that you look up to and or like that have inspired you in the go-go field?
So I think all of us are inspired by those go-go bands that I talked about. You know, you have Chuck Brown, Rare Essence, even Backyard. You're looking at bands like Northeast Groovers, and there's so many different go-go bands that we take a lot of inspiration from. But I feel like we also pull a lot of inspiration from non-go-go artists too. And each of us has our own way of playing that's inspired by somebody specific. I know for me, vocals wise, I look at Jasmine Sullivan a lot. Keys wise, I grew up in church, so I play like a church artist, and that plays into it. But we pull from rock, country, pop, R&B, anything we can get our hands on, really.
Just a little bit of everything and anything,
Yeah.
huh?
Mhm.
That's awesome. I mean, and that's really a unique way of looking at it. I mean, it's go-go music isn't just strictly go-go music for you and your band. It's go-go music, but like trying to tie in and bring in everything else that you can with that. And I
Yeah.
think that's amazing. And having that like whole conglomerate of things incorporated in your go-go music
Mhm.
makes me want to wonder what go-go music means to you specifically.
To me specifically, it's been the soundtrack to my entire life. I grew up listening to go-go. It's really a reminder of where I'm from, and that's kind of weird to say because I've lived here my whole life, but it's like I said, it's a genre of music that's specific to the DMV. So for me, it just reminds me that this area and this group of people that we have is so talented. And I feel like a lot of times people tend to look over the DMV and look over Maryland a little bit in terms of musicianship, but we have so many talented musicians here, and that just serves as a reminder to me constantly.
Oh, without a doubt. And it's so clear to me, at least, how much go-go music means to you and has influenced you. And I think that's so great. And I know when I was talking with you beforehand, you mentioned how you played at the Go-Go Museum recently.
I
Do you want to?
did.
And that's awesome. First up, but do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, so that was last night, which I guess in terms of when this comes out, that was March 27th. And I played at the Go-Go Museum in DC. It's on Martin Luther King Jr. Avenue, and it was started by Ronald Moten. I played there as part of the First Ladies of Go-Go event. So for Women's History Month, they had an all-female band go up and play. I was on keyboard, and there was so many other people. You had Jata, who was on vocals. Camise and El Marshall were on vocals. You had Twink on drums and Chaos on congas. And who else was there? Tiffany was playing bass, and Gabrielle Heights was on guitar. And it was such an amazing experience to be up there with an all-female band, especially because go-go is a male-dominated genre. So it was really a moment of solidarity between all of us and proving that we can, hold our own against everything else.
That is amazing, and congratulations. That is, I
Thank
met
you
it's
so
an
much.
amazing experience, and it's so awesome that you get to share that talent and your passion with other people. And I know another way that you've been able to share that passion with other people is through School Sounds,
Yes.
the production where we've had high schoolers in bands and other musical groups get together and share their music and their talent with other people.
Mhm.
Do you want to talk about your experience and what it was like being a part of School Sounds?
Yes, so my band Pocket 3 went on School Sounds. It was the four of us, which was interesting because we're actually a six-piece band, but two of our members couldn't be at that recording. So it was such a great experience. We performed at Studio 39 in the recording studio there. It was a little intimidating for me personally because there was a lot of cameras, but once we got into the groove of just doing what we do, we were playing music, and like I said, we're a very tight-knit little family, so it was easy for us to navigate the different setup. They came in, I think we came in around 10 o'clock in the morning, and we recorded a set, and we were like, you know what, we're just gonna, we're gonna vibe it out, we're gonna do like a quick little 15-minute set, and then 15 turned to 20, and then 20 became 25, and then I think we ended up playing for like 30 minutes, and I'm glad that they let us go through, they didn't stop us, they were really nice about all of it. It was just a great experience. We had a great time.
That is amazing, and it's really inspiring to me, seeing all of these amazing, talented artists going and sharing that with the county and really the world. And I have to thank you for that, because it really is amazing seeing you and artists who are just like you doing that. So
thank you.
It really is great, and that's why I love watching School Sound so much, is just because seeing all of these talented individuals. And I really wanted to thank you for coming today. It was really amazing talking with you about that. So thank you so much, Kenzie, for coming and chatting with us today. Next in the studio, we'll talk more about School Sounds.
Should I get there in a solo, y'all? Should I get there in a solo? I think I gotta get there in a solo. Go ahead, little drummer boy. Give him something there. Come on, give him something there. You know you gotta do it. Give him something. One time.
Welcome back to Teen Talk. Right now we have joining us Cameron Blackburn, who is the drummer for Ivy League, the very first band that we had on School Sounds. Welcome, Cameron. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, everyone. I'm Cameron Blackburn. I'm the drummer for Ivy League, and I've been playing drums for around about a decade now, which is pretty awesome. And I just love music and love being a part of this community.
That's awesome. And I know you go to Severna Park with me. Do you want to talk a little bit about your experience at Severna Park and at AACPS?
Yeah, I think if I were to describe my experience in AACPS in Severna Park, I'd say inclusive and collaborative. I feel like everything I do is always with other people, and it's always experiencing just group activities and group performances, and it's just so collaborative and beautiful to just work with other people, and just it's so amazing.
That's awesome. And in my opinion, and from what I've seen, there is nothing more collaborative than kids getting together and making a band.
Oh yeah.
And you're in a band, Ivy League. Do you want to talk a little bit about your band, Ivy League, about a little bit of how it came together?
Yeah, we started in 8th grade. It really started with Nick. Nick, throughout COVID, was very much writing music and just playing guitar and just all the musical stuff. And when we got back to school in 8th grade, Keith and Nick were already really, really good friends. They knew each other very well. And so Nick was like, yo, Keith, you should play bass with me, and we should play these songs. And so Keith learned bass for Ivy League, and Keith had already been learning piano just a little bit, and very much recently picked it up very heavily. And then finally I was asked to play drums, so I'm the newest member technically. But all this happened in 8th grade, and we've been playing for 4 years now, and it's great, and I couldn't be happier with this band.
That's awesome. And I know I personally love listening to your music and seeing you guys perform. You guys are great. On top of Ivy League, do you have any other experience with bands? I mean, I know you're hugely into music, but have you been in any other bands before this?
Oh yeah, I was in a band called Lopsided Chickens. This was like an elementary school, middle school band with some of my friends and my brother actually, and it was a rock band. We played covers. It was a lot of fun. I'd say the biggest aspect of band though that I've been in besides Ivy League is probably the jazz bands at our schools. I'm a very jazz heavy person. I love jazz. Um, it's great because you get all these horns and you get like bass players, guitar players, piano players, drum set players, and all these people just come together and they make music. It's so awesome.
I mean, I've seen a lot of the band at our school, especially. I mean, I know at Semi Park we've been really trying really inclusive with our music program, and you guys have performed with. Just off the top of my head, I'm thinking of the Winter Showcase where you guys did the performance, which was awesome. So I definitely see so much how much this jazz band, how much other bands at Semi Park are being involved in. It's awesome how you guys are, and it's really cool how Ivy League and other youth bands are getting really, really involved too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We've seen a very big spike of student bands very recently, actually. And I'd love to say that it was Ivy League started trend, but I gotta say it's very, very awesome. I think it has something to do with the new TikTok algorithm. A lot of student bands and kid bands are starting to really pop up, and it's great. I love all of the experience that the school provides for these bands. During Falcon Block, they can have practices or whatnot, and it's awesome.
That's awesome. And I'm actually really glad you brought up the TikTok and social media. What role do you think that social media, if any, has played in like kind of getting a little bit of exposure for Ivy League?
Well, we post all of our gig dates and fun stuff we do during practices on Instagram or whatnot. And it's great. I mean, it's a great way to put yourself out there and really just show like what you guys can do. Recently, we've had more of a spike in Instagram, social media. It's a great way to put yourself out there. I wouldn't rely on it too heavy because social media can be very pushing and really just like stressful. So it's definitely a big part of advertising and getting people to know like what you're doing and what music you're writing. But in all, really performing live and getting with people and being able to perform with people, that's where it's at.
And so, do you guys do a lot of gigs where you're performing in front of people and with people?
Oh yeah, we have gigs almost every weekend. We try at least, and it's amazing. A lot of people from our schools come to our gigs, and they watch us. We sometimes draw some people on stage, and they'll sing or whatnot, and it's really great. It's just a great way to bring in the community into our gigs, and it makes it feel like our gigs aren't just performing, but it's more of like a collaborative experience.
I mean, listening to you talk about Ivy League, talking about jazz band music, and knowing you personally, I can really tell that when you're in Ivy League, it's not just a commitment where, hey, some friends asked you to join, so you're going to do it. It's you love music and you love this. So when did you really discover that first love for music? When did you like first dive into that?
From a young age, I've been listening to music. I went to concerts with my family, been to a lot of ska concerts. And in ska music, drumming is a huge part. So that really just drew my attention to the drums. That's where I really found my passion for drums. For music overall, though, I gotta say, my brother is probably the biggest reason on why I love music and how I discovered loving music. He played saxophone in elementary school, and I thought it was the coolest thing ever. And so I was like, I want to do that too.
Yeah.
And so now I'm playing the drums.
That's awesome. Little shout out to Cameron's brother there. But yeah, so on top of your love for music, on top of your brother, can you think if there are any indie or alternative bands or musicians that really helped inspire you and inspire that love for music?
Yeah, I'd say some of our biggest influences would be like The Strokes or Vampire Weekend or even like Cage the Elephant. It's a really generic vibe. Like it's very, you can tell where our influences come from when you listen to our music. But I'd say the most unique influence we have is definitely jazz. Keith being a jazz pianist, all of our harmony and chords is very complex and it's very interesting. So having all of these different aspects, it's really cool. We just draw in everyone and love it.
And when it comes to that inspiration and just drawing in all that stuff, you obviously create some amazing music. So your music is original, correct? Or is it a mix of covers as well as original? How do you like to do your shows and gigs?
Well, everything we've released on all streaming platforms is original. We have 2 albums out, so 20 originals out. Plus, we're writing more. We just actually recorded at Peabody Studios, which is really awesome. But during our gigs, we play a mix of originals and covers. We try to front load the covers so that way we can play our originals later. And our originals have started to become well known enough that they don't feel like originals anymore. They start to feel like covers because people are singing along and it's so interesting. But yeah, we do a mix for our gigs.
That is awesome. And you're a junior in high school. I know Nick and Keith, they're both juniors in high school. How do you kind of balance that school, gigs, while also making this original music? That's amazing.
Yeah, it's a lot of time management. My calendar is every single hour I've got something planned. I got to make sure I have time for my homework, which is a big thing.
Yes.
As a junior, I have to read The Great Gatsby coming up now. So I've planned throughout this week when I'm reading and when I'm doing practices and whatnot. And also with our marching band trip coming up, I have to really just have to schedule all my time. It's tough, but it's worth it.
I know. I know one place where people can see through AACPS your amazing original music is School Sounds, where you guys performed. You guys were the inaugural band to perform for School Sounds. Do you want to talk about your experience and what it was like being on School Sounds with Ivy League?
Oh yeah, School Sounds is awesome. I really, really enjoyed just being able to set up all this camera equipment and the mics and everything, and then have this camera crew in front of me. And I felt like I was being watched, but in the collaborative way and in the experimental and this is something new. And it's so beautiful that we could come together and record this video and just make something beautiful out of it. And now to see that all these other School Sounds videos, there's 8 now or something?
There, yeah.
Yeah, I watch them all. They're amazing. Just to see that that trend go on, it's amazing.
That's awesome. And we're definitely fortunate to have you coming on. I mean, especially with School Sounds, you guys did amazing, and we loved having you on. And I just wanted to thank you for joining us here today. It was amazing to hear your story, the story of Ivy League, and more about how you 3 are making some amazing music while in high school. Is there anywhere where people could find you, social medias, streaming platforms?
Yeah, on Instagram, it's Ivy League Band MD. Actually, on most platforms, it's Ivy League Band MD. You can check us out on all streaming platforms at Ivy League. We got our new album out, Interstate Dreams. Looking pretty good there, too. And, yeah, check us out. It's amazing.
Awesome. I'll be making sure to stream some Interstate Dreams when I get home today.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on once again, Karen.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome. Big thanks to all the guests featured on today's episode of Teen Talk. Your stories are truly inspiring. I'm Will Andrione, and we'll see you next time on Teen Talk.